welcome to my first video where I'm going to analyse the style of Bruce Hornsby, who's an artist that you may have seen I've done several cover versions of over the last 12 or more years. Certainly an artist I think has influenced my way of playing, but also had a huge impact on lots of piano players from various different countries, different genres, different eras now for a long time. So I want to pick apart his style and look at some of what it is that makes Bruce Hornsby such a great pianist and songwriter. So in this video we're going to cover 3 of Bruce's songs. We're going to look particularly at Every Little Kiss, we're going to look at The Show Goes On, and we're going to look at Mandolin Rain. Okay, and we're going to take apart some different areas of those particular songs that I think really kind of highlight Bruce's style and show some of his hallmark ways of playing. So we're going to look at some videos of each section close up, and then I'll break them down. And the first one we're going to look at is Every Little Kiss. Okay, so such a great and recognisable intro to the song that then gives way to loads of great hooks. But to look at that piano opening, we start off with those quite high octave, quite bare. Okay, nothing too complicated there, but he likes to introduce clashes to almost every chord he plays. So even at the start there, it's just B flat to G minor, but then he throws in the E flat just to give a little bit of dissonance, a bit of uncertainty, and all of that is very much, within the key of B flat as we expect. Start, the song is in B flat, first few chords, B flat, G minor, C minor, F, all very routine, and then really colourful Bruce chord there. So you've got the A flat sus2 plus the major 7. So I would refer to that as a major 9 chord. Okay, or you could think of it as sus2 with a major 7. But it's that sort of instant bit of colour he throws in there. And then we get this. Okay, so what you've got there is these notes that are clashing by being a second apart, which in music is the closest interval you can get. You've got some major and some minor seconds in there, and that creates more dissonance. And that kind of goes back to a Charles Ives style of early 20th century writing. Where dissonance was a real feature there as well, and just using it for colour. Okay, so that on its own you'd think, yeah, that kind of pops out as being, but in that sequence of everything else, it just leads very naturally from one to the next. But yeah, you've got like a B flat and a C, B flat and a C, but the other way around, an A flat and a G, G and F, F and E flat, and then we're back to a more sort of conventional, but there again some colourful chords. So you've got, he likes these chords where you have a 6th and a 9th. So here you could have just had an E flat chord, but instead you've got E flat, F and C over the top of it. Now you could argue, and there's different ways you could look at all of this in music theory and how you label these chords, but if you were to call that an F7 with the E flat at the bottom, you could argue that. I would say it's more like an E flat 6-9 type chord in the sound it produces. And just going down, he uses a lot of inversions, a lot of descending sequences, so going through that kind of thing, you know, which obviously makes the bass line really smooth as well. Yeah, and then it kind of works its way down. My favourite bit of the intro. Just so that chord there. This, I've got to pull this one out particularly because this is a really signature Bruce chord here. You've got really what is an E flat major 9 chord. So you could play it as, you could stack all of those notes together in thirds: E flat, G, B flat, D, F. Okay, and then you get, but it doesn't sound quite the same because it's all to do with how he arranges it on the piano as well. And what's important here is he has like the E flat in first inversion. You've got the G at the bottom. So G, E flat, F, B flat, D. Beautiful chords. Sort of resolves up to the E flat then. And then B flat in second inversion, so the F is at the bottom of the chord. Then you get this chain of fourths. He loves moving around in fourths. Okay, almost a sort of Asian Oriental sound there, but it's also signature to Bruce's piano style. It's a feature of country music too, actually. And that's in amongst there as well. And he sort of uses it there to suggest that sort of, is it a 6 chord, a 9 chord? B flat first inversion. And here, little thing he does here, quite often in the right hand, he throws it all through his playing, uses it a lot in solo sections, as you'll see later. So you've got like this resolving second to third thing happening. In this case, it's a B flat chord, so that's a C to a D. And then down, C, B flat. And that quick little grace note there, he throws in all the time, all over the right hand, all through the piano playing. And that, again, it's a Bruce sound. So, descending, then fourths rising, grace notes. And it settles there really on an E flat 9 chord. And all that in just a short, like 1 minute intro. Okay, so let's move on through the song and look at the piano solo now. So what we notice here, it's quite a quick fire Bruce solo, quite short and sweet. He packs quite a bit in there. He's building it all on top of the chord sequence that you hear in the pre-chorus of the song. So that bit with where the day goes down on the water town. So left hand's still doing that. Okay, it's my transcription of it in exactly how it's played, but that is the bass movement going down. So over top of that, straight away what we notice is he's playing the right hand in octaves, which is quite common pianistically to do that. And it just adds a bit of weight to it. You know, there's nothing unusual, but sounds fine without, but just not quite the same. He sort of has this idea he's building around, and then he ramps up the rhythmic complexity as he goes through, which is a very common Bruce trait once again, ramping up the rhythmic complexity. So kind of going from maybe just some quaver patterns, dotted rhythms, more sustained notes, and then getting on up through sort of semi-quavers, triplets. So we get to this. And when you've got those triplets there, it almost feels like a cross rhythm, even though the left hand is minims. You know, we can hear that beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. And sometimes, you know, it is creating a cross rhythm. And when it's not that, it's quite syncopated, so quite accented off the beat. And then finally, a little flourish at the end. Not one of his biggest ones, mind you, but just a rising pattern there. Yeah, da 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 da. Favourite triplets going up. It's not quite a pentatonic scale. It almost is, but you've got it's like an E major or C minor pentatonic, but you have got a D in there as well. So, and then a nice finish with some. Remember these fourths we spoke about? To finish with, and that time we had a little grace note both times. And if you look at the video again, you'll kind of see how it works that end with the fourths and fifths in the right hand there. Now, I should mention that in all of this, I'm using my own transcriptions of Bruce Hornsby's playing, which is kind of how I've always learnt his songs, along with a little bit of help from some sheet music I've seen just to check. But the fact is, Bruce doesn't tend to play things exactly the same live every time. So actually, when you look at the videos and my written down transcriptions of the music compared to what I'm playing, there will sometimes be some discrepancies, which I would say is pretty normal to the style and to how Bruce plays as well. Now, we're going to look at Mandolin Rain next. Now, this was another big hit for Bruce, and one of the first ones I think I tried to learn of his. Although it's a challenge, because straight away you've got these quite big, stretchy chords in the right hand and octaves all through the left hand. So it's not an easy one by any means. We start off with the sort of the main hook of the song, the tune of the chorus as well, but played through some chords. So that with the left hand. Now, what I haven't done in the video, as you'll have noticed on this one, I haven't written in the chord symbols. I will talk through some of them, but there's nothing actually that unusual here compared to something like Every Little Kiss. It's in the key of G, and mostly you've got chords of G, E minor, A minor, C, and sometimes D as well. But outside of that, not very much else. And you'll be able to hear a lot of where it's moving between. The intro and the chorus are all based around that movement between A minor and G. And then sort of E minor to D. So you could say it's a bit like a musical sigh going down. Or it's the rain coming down. You know, you could interpret it kind of how you want to there. But it definitely produces a sad or kind of melancholy feeling as it does that each time. So, looking through the intro again a little bit more, we've got these big chords where he plays the tune in octaves, sort of at the bottom of the top of the chord. So there, you've got again that sort of rapid alternating between the two chords, A minor and G. And then we get to this nice little bluesy, which he throws in here a bit more than some of the others. So you've got a little B flat to B on the G chord. And he kind of uses the C sus2 chord to resolve. It goes to like a G sus4 and then to a G sometimes. And then at this one, you've got that sort of 6-9 thing going on again, this time with the chord being C, an E and an A, and a D and a G with the C in the bass. So he's using these little tricks again, these little grace notes, these movements in fourths, but what's different here I think is the bigger chords, the putting the tune in octaves amongst the chords as well. But other than that, actually there's nothing too fancy going on in the intro, it's just hearing some of the main chord patterns and hooks from the rest of the song. Okay, let's have a look then at The Show Goes On as the final piece for this video. This Hornsby track has a bit more complexity overall, it's a bit longer, there's more changes through the different sections, but we'll start by having a look at the intro. So what I really love with the intro, and something that sets the tone straight away in that really kind of reflective feel, is you get these quite high register soft phrases. And between each one you've got this sort of space, these rests, which just kind of gives you a moment of reflection, so it's like a statement. And then the next one, which is, it just sets the tone beautifully. Nothing too crazy in the harmony there at first. I mean, as it goes through, so major seventh chords, but it's not until the second time through of it you get these really more colourful, what I would call sort of cluster chords. Where actually in the left hand here you've got A, B, C sharp and D all together. A really rich, slightly off-key feeling sound to it, but it just is part of that, again, the Hornsby sound. Major 9 chord there as well, G, A, B, D, F sharp, and then it's sort of descending down. Sometimes the chords are like a minor seventh, where you've got like the B, A and D all together, and with the E at the bottom. It's more like a sixth chord or a minor add 4. Again, it's sometimes hard to write it down because the way he's moving with the left and the right hands together, it's not like he's thinking just in terms of chords, which I'm sure he's not. But what we get out of it is quite a lot of minor sevenths, major sevenths, major ninth chords as well, and then we end with this sort of sus2, G sus2, and A, as if we may be going to get to the D chord. Now the D chord is, D major is the key of the song, but he saves that properly for when we get to the main part of the intro. Before that, you've actually got, going back to the G chord here, and so here, G, A, B, D, F sharp, G, B, D at the top here, or A, depending on how you want to play it. But either way, it's like, again, a G major 9 chord. And then that descending figures with notes being static at the top and the bottom. The A's either side and then the middle. So that feels like a B minor 7. And here, really nice. Yeah, so again, you've got the D's keeping it static either side, the G in the left hand. That C sharp there creates a real clash with the D. But it's part of that descending pattern, so it kind of quickly resolves itself. And then a D second inversion. G9. And then ultimately, nothing too unusual that last bit. Just sort of left and right hand almost going together, and then that a G6 with the E plus the A, G6-9. Again, like a little reflective figure sort of in the distance before we land upon the chord 1, D major. And here you've got the pattern's really established. The chord sequence is going to set a lot of the rest of the song. Verse, chorus, piano solo later. D, G, A, B minor, G, D. So 1, 4, 5, 6, 4. Back to 1. In terms of how he plays the intro here, it's got its own melody. So that, you could say it's like a A chord, chord 5, you've got the F sharp to E, grace notes, E to F sharp, then E to D. So that's like a B minor chord there, B minor 7 with the A at the top, E falling to D like a 4 to 3. So lots of those little bits of his, you know, there's ornaments and things tucked in there as well amongst the slightly more conventional chord pattern, really. Second repeat of that, you get the sort of a D6 resolving B to A, turns to a G chord. Another moment with the falling with the C sharp and the D clash. Some fourths. At the top. He uses these fourths a lot and just changes the notes at the bottom sometimes to create, you know, different chords out of it. And that brings us then sort of into the verse. So we're going to skip forward through the song now to get to the piano solo. one little diversion here actually. I'm just going to show you what he does in the middle 8 of the song, because it's quite a common Bruce trick as well. Not that it's actually that uncommon in general songwriting either, but in the middle 8 he goes to chord of F, sort of F at 9. Now this is the time is passing slowly, passing you by. That bit. He's using what I would say he's going through the subdominant keys here, so that's kind of moving up by fourths, given that we started in D major, G, C, F. So you call it circular fourths, circular fifths. But yeah, he gets to the F chord there, and I think it helps to create a different sort of feel to this part of the song, a change of mood. You better try to find it before it passes you by. And yeah, I like the way he does that. He does a similar thing in Mandolin Rain as well, not quite as far away from the original key. But yeah, the F, F9 chord there, C inverted, A minor, G. It's very clever. And he gets quickly back to D major at the end. He ends with the sort of C9, C add 9. Keep on walking, keep on talking. Goes straight back to a D chord here, D add 4. So that means putting in this case, the G along with D, F sharp and A in the chord. And the little signature Bruce sound there. Talking all along. To launch us into that piano solo. Great, really effective. Now, a quick thing about the left hand here is it's really just outlining the same chord pattern we've become used to for the rest of the song. So that's D, G, A, B, G. Okay, so 1, 4, 5, 6, 4. That just keeps going round. Now on the right hand, he's moving quite rapidly in this solo. It's a more complex solo for a few reasons, but one of those is the speed of moving between octaves, a bit more dexterity needed in some of those moments. He's fond of that. It's like an octave and a fourth and a fifth. He does lots of things like this in lots of his solos. Runs using those intervals. He sort of spells out the D chord, the G chord, and then literally here a broken A major chord. Still moving quite a lot around the D major scale, to be honest. Then an ornament that really makes this solo is the turn. So it's not just like a grace note, which he's fond of. It's going up above the note and then below the note and then carrying on here, all based around the A. Resolving to the D chord, a kind of a broken D chord there. Lovely stuff there. So it sort of spells out a B minor 7, G major 7, but it's also the rhythm here. It's the offbeat nature. It's quite syncopated. So the left hand's kind of coming in on the beat, and the right hand's just anticipating it and accenting the beat just before it. Another little, and up the octave. Carries on up. And then we get a bit more of this before we get to some chords in there in the right hand. Now these chords are really just 1 and 2 and 5, which is the A major, but the D and E minor chords he moves between with a little grace note, sort of bluesy D sharp to E in the middle. Fire run here. that's quite rapid, and again, there's some crossing over with the thumb going under and everything. Yeah, quick rhythms there. So he like a quick blast of rhythm is another little Bruce thing. Something like that. Some demi-semiquavers in there. And then he kind of that's all still roughly based around the D major scale with occasional bigger intervals like a fifth. He's skipping out some of the notes, it's not fully a major scale. And that is, again, he's got some sextuplets in there. So that, again, that signature. And then walking down. And it's not that the rhythm there is, it's not faster because the demi-semiquavers before were faster, but that bit there, it's just a different rhythm. It's another layer of rhythmic interest that he's just introducing in his solos. He likes to do that. Quick bursts, quick changes of rhythms. You know, it's something we latch onto very quickly as a listener. And then finishes really with the solo with the... another turn there. And before that we get this bluesy G sharp to A. And then why do we finish on an E? Because it fits the A chord that we're going back into for the kind of pre-chorus. Where she sits, everyone stands in judgment. And on we go. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch my Bruce Hornsby analysis video, the first of perhaps several. If you have another song you'd like me to particularly look at in detail from Bruce's catalogue, do put up in the comments for me. Let me know. Equally, if there's a new Hornsby cover you'd like me to try, then I'd be interested to hear about it. But I would encourage you, if you're a big Bruce fan or you liked learning about some of those different techniques, by no means do you have to master playing all of those songs in order to do that. Look at those videos, look at the transcriptions, try breaking out some of those little bits I've highlighted and just learn those, and that will take you, that'll take you further into his style and really what it's all about. But in the meantime, please do like and subscribe and share if you enjoyed it, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you back here again for some more very soon. Take care.